In the grim and dark future of the 41st millennium, there is only war. And some really fun tabletop RPGs. Warhammer 40,000, also known as Warhammer 40k, is perhaps one of the most popular science fiction franchises today. It has come far from its miniature wargame roots and has by now spawned hundreds of novels, video games, and other spin-off products. Henry Cavill is also a well-known 40k lover, which is just one more reason for me to blush and swoon whenever I see that man. Of course, Warhammer 40k has also received various TTRPG adaptations focusing on various elements of its vast setting. I've had the honor of running a few games of Imperium Maledictum. Made by Cubicle 7, Imperium Maledictum describes itself as a game for grim and treacherous adventure in the 41st millennium. It is about agents of an Imperial faction going on missions on planets and locations in the Macarian sector. Here, they will have to infiltrate enemy strongholds, gather intel among the high society of a hive world, or face off against minions of the ruinous powers. Warhammer 40k is a big setting that offers space for a lot of stories, but Imperium Maledictum is clearly aimed at tales featuring the lower end of the franchise's power level. Comparing it to other TTRPGs using the 40k license, it is clearly more like Dark Heresy than Deathwatch. I got to run this game for a few sessions, and I enjoyed it so much that I've decided to share with you the 3 things I loved most about the game. Well, maybe 4, but who's counting? Put on your power armor and pray to the Emperor of Mankind as we look at the best parts of Imperium Maledictum. Before players design their own PCs, the group will first create their Patron together. The Patron is the sponsor and boss of the group of agents portrayed by the players, and can come from one of the many factions within the Imperium. However, every Patron also has their own agenda, and working for them will get the agents caught up in their sponsors' affairs. The cool thing about patrons is that they give players a way to decide the flavor and theme of the campaign together. Working for a Magos Biologus of the Adeptus Mechanicus will have agents go on very different missions from those of an Inquisitor loyal to the, well, Inquisition. Picking a patron from a specific faction allows your players to say, hey, Warhammer 40k has a lot of cool stories, but we want to focus on this kind of story for now. The patron is also almost entirely designed by the players, and not by the GM. Players pick the faction, motivation, and even the demeanor of the patron. The only thing the GM picks in secret is a patron's liability. A liability represents some great drawback, challenge, or problematic character trait of the patron. As the players and their PCs initially do not know about it, this liability can present an unexpected complication for the agents. These liabilities might be the poor standing of your patron with other Imperial factions, their addiction to data and new information, or them actually being a corrupt servant of the ruinous powers. Though the rules ask the GM to pick a liability in secret during the creation of the patron, you might consider picking it at a later point. After a few sessions, the GM might have a better feel for which liability will have the most interesting impact on the story. The far future of Warhammer 40k is a depressing and dark cautionary tale, and a setting where death comes cheap. Even the mighty Astartes, genetic demigods in their own right, are felled by tragic blows. So what chance do the lowly mortals portrayed by the players in Imperium Maledictum have against the dangers of the Macarian sector? The game's combat is perhaps the best demonstration of how terrifying the setting is. While it is mechanically not that complex, combat will get ugly fast, leaving characters wounded and scarred. All characters have a number of wounds they can lose. Wounds are relatively easy to recover, but if you go past your maximum wounds, you need to check if you either just fall unconscious or stay standing and receive a critical wound. These critical wounds depend on the hit location, and some of our more old-school viewers might remember a few other games that use hit locations to determine the type of injury you sustain. Imperium Maledictum does also care about your armor on various body parts. You can't just buy a suit of heavy armor and expect it to cover all of your body in this game. You need to make sure all your limbs are separately protected. Going into a fight without a helmet might look cool on the cover of a 40k novel, but it will make it easier for you to be the victim of a fatal shot to your cranium. While the tables for injuries do include results that end in immediate death, the game is set up in such a way that you will only have a chance to roll these results if your PC has taken an immense amount of damage. Still, your character will easily lose a hand or a few toes if they are not careful, and it is advised to have at least one agent who is skilled in the Medicae skill in your crew. Dealing with wounds and long-term injuries is part of the downtime between sessions, and your agent will sooner or later resort to augmetics and implants. However, there is a way to stack the odds of surviving combat unharmed in your favor, which leads me to the third thing I love about this game. Knowledge is power, and in Imperium Maledictum, set knowledge helps make encounters less lethal. Smart agents will gather intel and insight before taking down their foes, and the game measures this degree of preparation as superiority. Superiority is a stat the entire party shares. When facing off against a foe they have superiority against, agents can increase their degree of success on one test per round by a number equal to their superiority. Additionally, enemies have a resolve stat that shows their determination and general willingness to fight the agents. If the party's superiority is higher than an enemy's resolve, they become desperate. Desperate enemies will try to flee, bargain for their life, or act irrationally in the face of despair. If a group of enemies have a leader, other goons can use their leader's higher resolve, but if said leader gets taken out, that will increase the party's superiority. However, if an agent is defeated or receives a critical wound during an encounter, superiority decreases. There's two things I love about this. First, the system rewards the party gathering information and preparing for their encounters. Sure, going in guns blazing has its place in a 40k story, but Imperium Maledictum offering this mechanic also shows what kind of playstyle the game supports and rewards. One where knowledge translates into mechanical power. Second, the fact that higher superiority penalizes enemies with lower resolve is a great way to portray the effects of superiority. Your foes are so overwhelmed by your superior tactics, they can't resort to anything but surrender or desperation. Superiority and resolve are thus also great mechanics to speed up combat, keeping it from becoming a drag. I know I said I wanted to talk about my 3 favorite things in Imperium Maledictum, but let me sneak in one other thing that is worth mentioning. The core rulebook has a very good layout, and my favorite thing is how page margins are used. Most terms that get mentioned on a page are either briefly explained here, or the margin shows the page number on which more information can be found. This design choice has saved me so much time and makes it easy to quickly find what you're looking for. May the God Emperor bless whoever made this really cool design choice. So there you have it. My 3, or well, 4 things I love about Imperium Maledictum. Have you played it? And if so, what did you enjoy about the game? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.